Hello class, this evening I have decided to answer question number 1. First part of the question, what is the National Security Act of 1947? The National Security Act of 1947 was signed by Truman and created 5 institutions in the United States. The first of these institutions was the Department of Defense, and this act was established to force cooperation between the military services to better sustain and equip the areas of planning war, fighting, and budgets. The acts also created the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The chairman is the senior military advisor to the President of the United States, and the people on it represent the different military services. The Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA, was the third institution established under the National Security Act. Fourth is the independent U.S. Air Force, and fifth was the National Security Council. The duties of the National Security Council is to advise the President on national security affairs and concerns. So just to reiterate, 1 was the Department of Defense, 2 was the Joint Chiefs of Staff, 3 was the CIA, 4 was the U.S. Air Force, and 5 was the National Security Council. The second part of the question asks, why is it necessary? The National Security Act of 1947 was necessary because the organization established important organizations that are necessary to the United States today, like the CIA, Air Force, and Department of Defense. Each of these established the capabilities to avoid a surprise attack, like Pearl Harbor, which happened years prior to this act, and this also created an effort to combine intelligence operations as a central agency, for instance, the CIA, and to unify all armed forces into a combined effort. Before, the Navy and Army disputed the strategic importance of their different branches, and therefore the Air Force did not exist. But now all armed forces were able to come together and find some underlying agreements and attempt to agree on national security affairs. The third part of this question are, what are its principal provisions? The principal provisions are the agencies it created, and they are important today because we are able to have national security affairs and secure our nation based on the creation of these agencies. The principal provisions are also to secure national security in our country. More importantly, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, which was one of the first times our nation became exposed to national security threats on the home front. And these principles are important today because they allow us to further our national security measures and enhance our programs that we have. For instance, the Department of Homeland Security branches out from these previous departments we have. The attacks on, in my opinion, the attacks on Pearl Harbor, by creating the National Security Acts of 1947, this was our response from the attacks on Pearl Harbor, and the Homeland Security was our response from the attacks on September 11th. Therefore, this is a not so much as an improvement from the Department of Defense, but it is in a way that we are responding to the attacks just like the National Security Act was once then a response to the attacks on Pearl Harbor. So also since 1947, we have also created the FBI and the National Intelligence Agency. Therefore, the National Security Act has established programs that we still see today, but have also helped us to further these programs into new programs, once again, like the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI and the National Intelligence Agency. So this Security Act that was passed in 1947 has helped us to better our national security and to create further programs and further institutions to continue to to continue to develop our national security measures. So thank you for visiting my post this week, and I look forward to your responses.